Hi and welcome along to AFTV. It's time for the Starting 11 show and it's a huge game today. Arsenal versus Leeds United at the Emirates Stadium, and we're buzzing for this one. After Tottenham's result yesterday, it makes it even more important that Arsenal get a victory in the game today so that we can go into that North London derby at least 4 points ahead of Spurs. Joining me to discuss the starting 11 is James. I know you've been sick this week, so good to see you back.
Thank you, Julian. Appreciate it.
Julian reciprocated, of course.
Julian, there we go.
Julian in the building, and also Kwame. Big up to you guys.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Looking forward to this one. This is a huge game today, James. Huge.
Yeah, massive. We've not had the chance to discuss it all week, as you said, because I've been bedridden. But it's big because things went just about as we hoped it would, with Tottenham dropping points. We hoped they'd lose. But as you mentioned, in the grand scheme of things, listen, a point makes it slightly different going into the run-in. But, you know, the point is they dropped points at Anfield, which is what we wanted. And Arsenal an opportunity to have a little bit of a cushion, a little bit of a gap going to North London derby. Let's get the job done before we worry too much about that game. But Arsenal, I said, after we beat you, Man United, we had West Ham in this game. I said, focus on the next three going into that North London, or the next two going to the North London derby, because that could be where it's won and lost for Arsenal. And this is another massive, chapter in this long, tale to the top four.
Massive game, Julian, right? They've got a lot to play for, Leeds. It's not going to be a team, that's on the beach, right? They are threatened with relegation, serious relegation trouble. They're right at the bottom. They're on the same amount of points as Burnley. They would have seen that Burnley dropped points yesterday, so it's a big opportunity for them as well to get out of relegation trouble. I think after they play us, they've got some other really tough games coming up from now till the end of the season.
We've got an easy one next week.
Give me it, I've got front in my throat.
I've been here 2 minutes. Look at that.
So, can we get over the line?
Yeah, we can get over the line. The other thing is, you talk about teams being on the beach. We played 3 teams that were apparently should have been on the beach, and we lost to them. So from what I've seen over the course of the season, is that the teams where we should be challenged against, and especially the last few weeks, those 3 games that everyone thought, we're going to lose, we actually upped our game. So it might actually be in our interest to play a team that has got something to play for. We seem to be one of the criticisms, I wouldn't say the only criticism of this Arsenal team, is that when we're expected to win and the other team just comes and apparently is on the beach, we kind of almost get infected by that mentality and our game lowers. So the fact we have to win and Leeds aren't just coming here for a day out in London, hopefully means that we'll do the job, because our attitude will be right, because we know it has to be.
It's true, isn't it, Kwame?
Yeah.
Hey, my throat. Hey, it's you, It's you. You come on the scene now, and all of a sudden, my voice is suffering. You know what I mean?
That is so unbelievable.
They're going to get you some
It's
water.
him, innit?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys. Do you want me to host while we get you water?
No, Kwame.
Yes, son.
He's right, innit?
He is.
We've been slipping up against those teams we're supposed to beat.
100%.
This is another one that everyone looks at and says, come on, man.
Yeah.
Supposed to win this.
Yeah, we're supposed to win. And it's a bit unfortunate that each time I come here, we seem to not get the right results. I'm hoping today we're able to change it. But I just think psychologically, when we play the bigger teams like the Chelseas, the Man United, we turn up. But these are the games, and this is the difference. When you look at the top tier teams in terms of they turn up consistently against all of the teams, whether they're fighting for relegation, whether they're mid-table. And for us, if we want to, if we want to, send a message to everyone else, in the league, especially going into towards the end of the season and then even to the next season, we need to be cleaning up. And that means beating teams like Leeds, beating teams like Brighton, not losing to Crystal Palace away. So I'm hoping that we get a good result. I'm hoping that, like I said, we get a result within the first half of the game. We see it out and we don't panic, because I was watching the Liverpool Spurs game yesterday and you could see the tension was getting more and more at Anfield. Anfield where no one was scoring or Liverpool didn't score. The fans were getting a bit tense, and then that kind of gave Spurs that confidence to go and score the opening goal. So yeah, I don't want to give nothing. Leeds are a wounded animal right now, and they are playing for their lives. So we need to be very careful about it. Respect them, but also show them in terms of the levels that we are technically. So
last week, watching a game from Nigeria against West Ham, it wasn't a great Arsenal performance. It wasn't a great game, but it wasn't a great Arsenal performance. But they got the job done. Is it important that we see a better performance today?
Is it important? Probably not. I think it's just, it is that old cliche. It's just about getting the results on the board. But at some point, you can't keep relying on grit and determination. There's got to be some quality. You've got to fashion chances. You've got to make your own luck to a degree. I would think this is the kind of game that suits Arsenal because we like teams that press us because we want to play out the back. We like games that are open. We like games that are high intensity. I think against... I don't know what it was against West Ham and United. We won, and they were good wins. But there was definitely something lacking from our performances. Yet they were two of our more impressive victories of the season, 3 against... I know United just lost 4-0 to Brighton, but still, you beat Man United 3-1 on any given day at the Emirates. That's a good win. You go to West Ham, and everyone was saying, they're distracted by the Europa League.
They're playing a strong side.
So football works. Declan Rice isn't running around the pitch thinking, I'm in Frankfurt in a couple of days. He's not. He's thinking about what he's doing. Yeah. And they gave us, I thought, a tough game, and I thought we came through that pretty well. We fashioned enough chances to win it. Today... The reason I think the performance is slightly more important is because you want to go into North London Derby with confidence. You want to go in feeling good about your football, good on the ball, feeling just good about yourself. You don't want to just keep scraping over the line before a big game. Now, Spurs yesterday, they didn't just dig in and find a way to grind a result at Anfield. They played good football as well. They held the ball when they could. They waited for the opportunities and actually created. They didn't just allow Liverpool to kind of make mistakes and then find chances out of that. So I think we need to find a degree of rhythm in today's match. And ultimately I'll take the 3 points no matter how they come. But you want to see some style to come with it.
Yeah. We were discussing this. Rob Holding, does he start? If Ben White is fully fit,
if Ben White is fit,
do you bring back Ben White or do you start Rob Holding?
No, you bring back Ben White. If he's fully fit, I mean that's the caveat, because Rob Holding proved last week that he's a capable reserve to come in and fill a space. He was arguably the man of the match. However, over the course of the season, Ben White is the better player. So if he's fully fit, he does come back in.
Okay, do you go with Eddie up front? Do you stick with Eddie and Ketcher?
Yeah.
Is it time to bring back in Lacazette?
No. I think Eddie's doing well. I think, again, although, like we said, West Ham was a difficult game for us, I think Eddie was one of the players that stood out. His hold-up play, his energy that he brought to the game, his quality on the ball, and, the relationship that he's built with, obviously he's got with Saka and Smith Rowe, whoever up top, is good. So, I want him to stay. I want him to stay there.
All right.
Yeah.
You as well?
Yeah, I'd sit with Eddie. Again, I think this will be quite open. I think Leeds will... Under Jesse Marsh, they're not quite as, full throttle as they were under Bielsa. But I don't think they've compromised too much on their principles as a team. I don't think Marsh has tried to reinvent the wheel since he's got there. So I do expect them to have a go. They'll have seen the Burnley result and know that it's an opportunity for them. So I think it'll open up, and I think that suits Eddie more.
Yep. And what about you? Did you say Eddie starts as well for you as well? You stick with Eddie?
I've been a fan of Eddie since I saw him come on against Norwich that time, sort of 4 or 5 years ago, and score those 2 goals. I like his enthusiasm, and what he gives to the team that Lacazette doesn't is pace. And one thing I'm an advocate of is if a team has pace, it scares the opposition. It forces them into making rash challenges. It could bring a booking. You look at Leeds. I think they've got had something like 94 bookings this season, which is an all-time Premier League record. They are still dirty Leeds.
Still dirty. You see, I
like that one.
It's as I said, a huge game today, right? There's going to be a lot of battles around the pitch. One of them, the players who looked a bit last week was Nuno. Nuno Tavares up against Rafinha today. Now, you know, that guy Rafinha is a
good.
very, very good player. He's going to need to put a good performance as well, isn't he?
He is. I'll be honest with you, I'm still not convinced with Tavares. I think, you know, yes, he's been our left back since Tierney's been injured, but there's been definitely holes in his defending. He's made a lot of rash mistakes that against a better opposition we could have been punished for. And he's kind of got away with it. There's a lot of challenges he's got away with, and I'm like, why would you do that? You know, especially around the penalty box. So I'm hoping he doesn't, you know, he's using his head and he's a bit more disciplined in terms of how he stands up against Rafinha. He's going to be difficult. Rafinha is very tricky, and we know he's left foot, so he's left-footed predominantly. So you want to make sure that you're showing him on the right. But then that also
They're going to target Nuno.
They're going to target him, exactly.
Everyone targets
They're
him.
going to target him.
He is our weak link at the moment.
Yeah.
You just mentioned using his head. I hadn't really thought about it this way till Turkish mentioned it, I think, last week. He looks a player, Tavares, that the talent's there.
Yeah.
Something
He
goes
hasn't got a
wrong,
football-
and he
footballing
kind of,
brain.
it's like he
He
kind of crumbles
unravels.
mentally. And,
Yes.
and actually, it's so interesting. You see that in the United performance where really good, good first half, obviously gets the goal, terrible second half.
Yeah.
West Ham, I thought, terrible first half, really, better second half.
Yeah.
And I've seen him. We do this thing where a couple of bad games and players are written off immediately. People forget that Tavares, you know, I know he made the mistake at Anfield, and that was a bad error. But he's playing really well that game, up
He
against
was.
Mo Salah,
Yeah.
at the time, the best player in the world. And he stood up to the task because he is still strong. He is good on the ball. He is athletically very gifted. He can defend his space very well. I just think if he can get through the first 10, 20 minutes, things go well for him. You know, win a couple of his early duels against Rafinha, then he'll get through the game okay. But he just needs to have that good start, because otherwise you see he can kind of just lose it after one bad moment. So the minute Elanga got behind him against United and he nearly gave away the penalty, he kind of lost his head for the rest of the game.
And then he did give away a penalty.
And then he did after with the
He thought he was Ramsdale for a second.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, and I do think there's. Everyone's got it in for us, Robbie. Apparently, I'm making you ill, and now the ghosts from behind are coming for us as well. But I think there's a player there. Keep his concentration, and I
There's
back
a player.
him.
Yeah, there's a player. I just think he's still young, just like the rest of the team is. But I just think 1v1, that's where he can get really exposed. So
He has got pace, though.
He's got pace.
And he was playing, not only that Liverpool game, Anfield, but up to that point, there was an argument to say that he was keeping Tierney out of the team. I mean,
He was.
Tierney was injured,
He was
but then
keeping
Tierney
him out.
came back and he couldn't get back in the team because of Tavares' form. So you're quite right. There is absolutely a player in there, but he seems to be. He's kind of got almost like
It's confidence.
Yeah,
isn't it?
it's
And,
not-
and
yeah.
has that confidence been damaged from that time he got hooked against?
But he's still a
in the
professional.
20th minute,
He's
then
still a
he then got
professional
hooked again
player.
at
They
half-time.
shouldn't have that kind of fragile confidence.
They shouldn't, but the modern
He's a
day
young player.
footballer,
He's a young player
but even-
playing at the Emirates in front of all the. You know, you don't want to make a mistake.
You're in a different
you know.
country. You're still getting used to everything. All of these factors
Yeah,
affect
but
it.
you're a
Yeah.
professional
I mean,
player.
it's like what
That's your
Tuna says. He
job.
goes, Nuno is a confidence player, needs the support of the fans.
He's very raw as well.
But they all need the support of the fans, and that's something I
Yeah,
think
but
is
he's a
going to be.
young player.
Yeah,
You've got to understand the psyche of a young
Yeah,
player.
yeah.
You imagine you're a young player. You've come over from Portugal. You know that you've had a couple of dodgy games previously. You're on that pitch, especially the position he plays, where he's a guy. He's a bit of a free spirit. He likes to get down
Get
that
forward,
wing.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Bombing up and down that wing, exciting. But then, if it starts to creep into your game that you're worried about making a mistake, you start to then underhit your passes. You start to then make bad decisions.
Yeah.
So confidence is
It's a big thing. It's a big
It
thing.
is a big thing, but he still shouldn't be that fragile.
He should, but
So at the level, however young he is, he's in Arsenal's first team. So he must be a good player, and he can't have that kind of fragile confidence. Otherwise, he won't be in Arsenal's first team for long, and he won't reach the heights that his skill has brought him.
I get what you mean. It's hard to comment on someone's mentality when I'm just watching them through a screen. But I think there's a difference between generally not being confident in your game, and that reflects over a couple of weeks of performances. Maybe you're not at your best. There's a difference between that and I'm playing really well for 30 minutes. Oh no, I've made an error. My whole game absolutely crumbles. And I'm not saying that is Tavares. It's just it's something people have mentioned, and I kind of get where it's coming from, where they're coming from, and I just hope. Yeah. As you said, I think there's a good player in there.
All right, listen, I've got the team, so let's get into the team for the day. This is the starting 11 for Arsenal today. In goal is Ramsdale. Tomiyasu back in the team, so that's good news to see. Holding, Gabriel, Cedric.
Good.
No Nuno Tavares, so it looks like Cedric is going to be playing over on that left-hand side. Xhaka, El Neni, Saka, Odegaard, Martinelli and Eddie Nketiah.
Okay.
All right.
That's the starting 11. On the bench is Leno, Tavares, Swanson, Lokonga, Patino, Smith Rowe, Pepe and Lacazette. So that is the team. So really the two tweaks are there's no Ben White in the team, not even in the squad. So he's not involved
He's
at all.
back for Tottenham.
So no Ben White, not even in the squad, not involved at all today. And Cedric coming in for Nuno Tavares.
That's a good call.
You think that's a good call?
Yeah.
We were just literally discussing it.
For all the reasons we've just discussed.
What about you?
Yeah, I mean,
Does that again knock his confidence?
it would. Yeah, this is a thing, and it's so difficult, as James is saying. It's so difficult to just base it on the performances that we're watching. We don't speak to him day in day out like Arteta does, but obviously he knows more about Tavares than anyone else does. So we have to just go by, his decision. Cedric at left back, we know he can do a job there. I'm just a bit worried. Obviously, again, he's out of position. He's not naturally in left back, so Leeds are going to play against that.
Could be Tomiyasu even left back, possibly.
Yeah, could be.
No, I think he'll keep
Cedric.
It'll be Cedric because Cedric's better on the ball. Cedric's a better. He's a
better ball carrier.
More skillful.
Yeah.
More attacking option.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see when the game starts. We'll find out which one of them plays out on the left. But what about you? Are you happy with that?
Ben White concerns me because that's now well over a week.
Games,
It's exactly a week.
Yeah.
Tight hamstring.
Yeah. That sounds like nonsense, doesn't it?
Holding as well.
No, but you know what? Tight hamstring, he could be looking on it and saying, like you said there, he might be saying to himself, you know what, hold it back for the Spurs game.
But you'd at least put him on the bench.
He's not fit. He's not
I think
fit.
if he's on the bench and the questions are why you're not starting
why is he
him.
not starting? There's always going to be.
I mean, I really hope it's precautionary. I hope you're not quite there. So they don't want to make the mistake they made with Tomiyasu. The North London derby is massive. Cedric, so Tavares is on the bench. Listen, the bench has some options.
Yeah.
Lokonga, Tavares, Pepe, Smith Rowe, Lacazette.
Got some speed on that bench.
There's something you can call upon there. Cedric will, I imagine, because I say it every single week that Arteta's trying to, copy the Guardiola playbook. Cedric will probably do what Cancelo does at left back, which is come inside a lot and be an inverted wing back, I suppose, which helps Martinelli, who likes to hug the touchline. So I guess there's something in that.
Is that Leeds central defender? Was it Cooper?
Well, let me go through the Leeds. Let me go through the Leeds team to play the game. It's Meslier in goal, Ayling, Firpo, Koch, Llorente, Phillips, Click, Rafinha, Harrison, Gerhardt and James.
So
that's their starting lineup. And then on the bench is Klassen, Cresswell, Struijk, Hedgedy, Bate, Shackleton, Gray, Greenwood and Rodrigo. So that's their bench. So there's no what's his name? Cooper.
There's no Cooper. And he's really important to them. He's a really important.
He's been out for a while, doesn't he?
No,
I think he did come back.
He injured himself in the warm-up against Man City, which totally threw them. And up to that point, I think they had won 3 and drawn 2, and then they got hammered against City. Yes, anyone get hammered against City, but the general consensus.
Phillips is back though. That's an important player for them.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to watch out for that. Gerhardt, he's a good little young player. Obviously, we know about Daniel James, very, very quick.
Yep.
May not be the best finisher, but very quick. These are players that will give problems through the... and we know that Leeds will attack. They're not going to come and try and sit with 2 banks of 4. They're going to come and they're going to want to be on the front foot. They're going to want to, really, really, really hurt Arsenal. But, that is their starting lineup.
There's some real talent in that front 4. Rafinha, Gerhardt, Harrison and James.
They're also missing some of their best players. They're missing Dallas, they're missing Bamford, who again has been missing for most of the season, and now Cooper, I think, is a really important player for them. So I'm even more confident now that we can get a good win.
I don't know, man, but I'm going off by what James is saying as well in terms of we have to be very careful because the speed that they have, they can get in behind holding.
Yeah, lots of speed. I think with Arsenal today, I can see Arsenal playing a lot on the counter. Even though we're at home, I can see that a lot because the one weak area of Leeds is the defence.
Yeah, and their goalkeeper.
Like you said, they've conceded a lot of goals this season. I mean, there are. When we went there early, me and you was at the game. We absolutely took them apart. That was under Bielsa. They got a new manager in.
They were decimated by COVID. One thing I remember about that game is we thought it was going to get called off, didn't we, on the way up? That was our main fear. And then the fog came in. We thought, we kind of got away with the COVID.
I remember it,
we might get called off with the fog. And as soon as we knew the game was on, we knew we were going to win. And we won easily. Yeah. And they'd just come off, I think, 7-0 hammering from Man City. So it kind of... it's almost like repeat, hopefully, because they've just come off a 4-0 hammering by Man City in the same way as they had a 7-0.
I'll tell you who needs to go. I want to see have a good game today is Martinelly. Last couple of games, I would actually have started Smith Rowe today.
Yeah.
Because I think he hasn't, last few games, he ain't been...
There's been a few games where
although he did have the assist in the last game.
I think it is.
I want to see him. I want to see him a bit more effective in these games.
I think it's because Cedric is starting. He's gone with Martinelli. I think he complements him better than Smith Rowe when he starts on the left. It's more suited to Tavares overlapping because Smith Rowe comes inside. And Arteta thinks of all these things about where they're going to be placed on the pitch and balance and all that. So I think if he was going to stick with Tavares, then I think we might have seen Smith Rowe come in today. But
all right. Let's get predictions in. Start with you, Kwame.
I'm going to go, I said before, I'll stick with it. 3-1 Arsenal. I think we'll get 3 goals, but I do think that we're going to concede 1 sloppy goal, unfortunately.
Julie?
I think if we can get that early goal, we play with intensity at the beginning, then we'll go on and we'll win easily. Sort of 3-4-0.
3-4-0?
But it all hinges on that early goal. If we don't get the early goal, I think it'll be a lot closer. And we can even draw the game.
What about you?
1-1 to protect myself from any disappointment and hurt. It's exactly what I am, Julian. It's exactly what I am.
What about you, Robbie?
I think I'm going to go 2-0. Although I'm a bit like you. Will we be able to keep a clean sheet?
Yeah.
But I think, I'm going to go for 2-0. This is such an important game for Arsenal. No slip-ups can be allowed. We cannot afford to play like how we did against Brighton, whereas that was the performance that really disappointed me out of those 3 that we lost because we just didn't turn up for that game.
Yeah.
And this is a game we've got to turn up for. You know what I mean? If we win this game, it's starting to look good for the top 4. We go into that Tottenham game with a massive advantage. We could finish... the top 4 argument in that game.
We could finish them there.
But we have to set it up by winning today, right? If we don't win today, psychologically, or even draw today, psychologically, the advantage is with Tottenham, right, going into that game.
What that means is we'd have to go win at Tottenham.
Yeah, but I'm saying, psychologically,
it is a lot,
they know that if they beat us in that game, they then move ahead of us, and they've got, if you look at their last 2 games, I think it's Burnley and Norwich, or you'd expect them to.
If they come out of this weekend, having just played Liverpool, they went into this weekend knowing Arsenal have Leeds at home, we got Liverpool away. If they come out of it with the gap either the same or smaller, I mean that's a massive psychological advantage for them. So
this game is huge. It's absolutely huge. This could be the game that decides it more than even Thursday, because if we win today, we could go on Thursday. Actually, we could suffer a defeat, but we're not out of it. But if we lose today, then we go there on Thursday and we suffer defeat, we would, I think, be out of the...
We've been here before, though, and that's the thing that I'm a bit wary of.
Listen, for much of the season, Arsenal were beating the teams we're supposed to beat, especially at home. I think... I'm factoring in the international break and then loads of different injuries around. But since then, the last 3 games, they've found a pattern of play. They've been playing well. I see no reason why, if Arsenal go out there and apply themselves today, they win the game. But We're going to find out. So, guys, make sure you check it out. We've got our watch-along coming up, right? That's going to be coming up at 1:45. Make sure you check it out. I'm going to be at the game. I know Julian's at the game as well. We're going to be speaking to fans after the game. We're going to be speaking to you guys after the game as well. We want to hear from as many of you as possible. But this is a massive game today. Arsenal versus Leeds United at the Emirates Stadium, 2 o'clock kickoff. A win today would put Arsenal 4 points above Tottenham and only, I think we'd be, 3 points behind...
We're a point behind Chelsea.
We're a point behind Chelsea.
Point behind Chelsea.
Let's talk about that possibly, if you know what I mean. That's how big that could be. We start drawing Chelsea into it as well. So it's
Chelsea already
absolutely...
drawn into it.
Well, not
Look
quite
at
at the moment.
Their form is
but
poor.
Julian, I don't think they are at the...
What saves
poor.
Chelsea is that we play Tottenham.
Yeah, we're not in.
That's
They're
what
not
saves
drawn into it yet unless we win today.
If we win today,
if
then
we
it's
win
a
today,
different
they're drawn into
conversation.
it.
Yeah.
If we don't win today, they're not drawn into it. They're going to be all right. If you look at their last couple of games, they'll be all right. So this game today is absolutely imperative that Arsenal win. Let's hope they do it. Make sure you check out the watch-alongs and check out all the content over here on AFTV and across all of our platforms today. We're going to be all over it. Come on, you Gunners.
Come on, Arsenal.
Come on.